Hey everyone! So today we're jumping into a really big idea, a massive shift in how we think about value, about work, and, our whole future with technology, especially with AI exploding onto the scene. The core idea? We're moving from a world that runs on the clock to a world that could run on the sundial.
Okay, so let's get right into it. For, decades now, we've all been playing this old game, the game of the clock. It's a world built on linear time, on productivity metrics, on constantly chasing the next thing. But here's the twist. Artificial superintelligence is getting so good at that game, it's becoming completely unwinnable for us humans. So it's time to learn a whole new game, the game of the sundial.
So first, let's really break down the problem with this clock paradigm. You know it, I know it, it's that future-focused, mechanical world that most of us just call the rat race.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We are constantly taught to sell our present moment, our energy, our health, our creativity, all for this promise of a better future. We're basically mortgaging our quality of life today for a tomorrow that, let's be honest, is never guaranteed.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. AI isn't just another tool we can use in this race. No, it's becoming the ultimate clock. It can process, optimize, and execute faster than any human ever could. It's literally perfecting the very system that's causing all our burnout, which, when you think about it, makes trying to compete with it totally impossible.
So, if racing against this super intelligent clock is a dead end, what's the alternative? Where do we go from here? This question right here, this is the turning point. What if instead of trying to be a faster, more efficient version of the machine, we change the game entirely? A sundial doesn't measure abstract seconds and minutes. It does something much more profound. It reflects the immediate, authentic reality of where the sun is, right here and right now. In this table just lays out the two worlds so clearly. On one side, you've got the clock paradigm. It's all about numbers, right? Financial return, efficiency, basically treating us like cogs in a giant machine. But then, look at the sundial paradigm. The focus shifts completely. We're talking about things that are qualitative, our well-being, our creativity. Our role becomes that of a creative vessel, not a cog, in a system that's collaborative and regenerative instead of just competitive and extractive.
So, how does this new sundial world actually function? Well, it runs on a completely different kind of fuel, a different kind of currency, one that's based entirely on the value of the present moment. This new world is powered by something called QLN, which stands for Quality of Life Now. And it's a pretty radical idea. It says, what if the true measure of your wealth wasn't what's in your bank account, but the actual quality of your immediate lived experience right this second?
And think about it this way. QLN isn't just another metric to track or another goal to chase. In this new paradigm, QLN is the sun that the sundial reflects. It's the constant, central source of value that we align ourselves to, rather than some distant finish line we exhaust ourselves trying to reach.
This is what makes QLN the only truly secure asset in a world that's going to be dominated by AI. Why? Because it's an incorruptible currency. An AI can fake an email, it can generate a report, it can optimize a supply chain. But it cannot forge the authentic, subjective, first-person experience of a human being living a life with quality. That is uniquely and powerfully ours.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but it's a bit philosophical, right? Well, it's not. There's actually a practical, hands-on framework designed to make this real, a system to turn this whole idea into action.
The how-to is actually a really simple, repeatable loop. It starts by assessing your life to figure out what actually needs your attention. Then you learn to value those unmet needs, not as problems to be solved, but as genuine opportunities. And finally, you act on them, channeling your creative energy where it matters most. So let's look at the tools for each of those steps.
So, those 3 steps use 3 different tools. First, you've got the HARP protocol, which is kind of like your own personal sensory system, always listening for what's out of balance. Then, the QLN currency system acts like a bank, turning those imbalances into valuable projects worth investing in. And finally, the 5QLN process is the creative engine that actually gets those projects done. It's a complete system. Listen, value, and create.
Let's look a little closer at that first step, HARP. It acts as a sensory interface, constantly checking in on your well-being. And when it finds a deficit, an area of your life that's being neglected, it logs what's called a debt note. Now, debt sounds negative, but it's not. Think of it as just a clear, actionable signal that something needs your attention.
And HARP looks at your life as a whole, across 4 really important dimensions. your physical, mental, and emotional health, the quality of your inner and outer environment, what you're breathing in, your relationships with yourself, with others, with nature, and finally, your creative passion and aliveness. And the key thing here is that these aren't separate silos. They all flow into and affect one another.
So let's zoom back out. What does all of this mean for our future with AI? Well, it totally reframes the relationship. We stop being competitors, and we start becoming collaborators in this incredible symbiotic partnership.
And this leads to something called the sacred asymmetry. It's a beautiful idea. Our role as humans is to be the vessel of the unknown, to ask authentic, novel questions from a place of genuine curiosity. The AI's role is to be the master of the known, to take our spark of a question and give it structure, to organize all the existing data, to optimize the path forward. In other words, we provide the why and the AI provides the how.
At the end of the day, this framework is so much more than just a self-help trick or a new productivity hack. It is a potential blueprint for an entirely new economic reality, one that's regenerative, not extractive, and where the ultimate goal isn't just accumulating more stuff, but cultivating a higher quality of life for everyone.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to ponder. The old world of the clock, well, it's ticking away. But the new world of the sundial, one that's calibrated to the sun of our own well-being, is rising right now. So the only real question left for us is, what will you choose to reflect?